What's up everyone, I am Prizmere and today we will discuss 8 essential tips on how to improve your game. So hear me out on these points and then you pick and choose what you like. Also, I won't really go into detail in how you get all this stuff, so Google or YouTube will be your best friend if there's something you're interested in specifically. Now let's get into our first point, getting a proper camp setup. There are many reasons you should do this, just to name a few. You have a home. Always nice to have. Your hydration and hunger can be more easily managed. Workbenches to mod and repair guns and armor. Asymptomatic to help cure disease, and the list goes on. The more you get into the game, the more elaborate your camp setup will be, but at least having a good foundation for your camp, it's going to help you out tremendously. Let's move on to the second point, Jetpack. This is a piece of equipment that can be modded onto your chest piece, whether it's your regular armor or power armor. They are separate though, and it's going to help you in various ways, like it makes it a lot easier to just move around in general, but also you kind of render melee enemies useless, at least to a certain extent or for a certain duration, because if you just hover above them or you jump onto an object, they will not be able to reach you. There are, of course, alternative modifications you can put on your chest piece instead of a jetpack. If you want to do that, that's just fine, but jetpack is super useful and very popular, so definitely consider it. Number 3, power armor. One thing I forgot to mention in the previous point, you can't equip a jetpack on excavator power armor, but apart from that, there are quite a lot of reasons for you to use power armor. A few reasons, out of many, is that they have fantastic damage resistances and radiation resistance. That's going to help you tank a lot of enemies much more easily than if you wouldn't be in a power armor. And on top of that, you can also roll legendary effects on the power armor pieces. The most popular one is Overeaters. And I guess the one negative part would be that you need a fusion core or your power armor. Might be a problem for some people, but in the end game, you're not really going to have that issue, at least in my experience. I think there are some ways out there to get your hands on a fusion core, a couple of them fairly easily, so definitely look into that if that is something you're struggling with. Now let's move on to the next point. Great all-rounder weapons. One of the most amazing weapons you can get in this game is the chainsaw or auto axe. They are fairly similar in damage. Simply put, even without legendary effects, they will still clap your enemies. Sometimes it's better to just use a regular gun instead of them, but they are super good. And then there is the cremator. It's a very solid damage over time weapon. If you got that, I urge you to try it out. And lastly, the fixer. A weapon that is extremely popular, especially within bloodied builds, but it's just a really good assault rifle, even if we don't consider builds. Now these are just 3 out of many weapons. I would just mention these 3 real quick to give some ideas out there in case there is something new you want to try. Next up, we've got mutations. I'm not trying to make a build for you here, but if you're interested in mutations, there are specifically 2 mutations that I would recommend. The first one is Speed Demon, because it gives you faster movement speed and reload speed. It's super nice for just moving around in general, and it's going to help you avoid a lot of dangerous situations, potentially. We've also got Marsupial, which increases your carry weight, and hey, that's always nice, right? But what I'm mainly after with this one is the jump height. It kind of complements your jetpack in a way, and it can also help you ditch the jetpack, I suppose, if that's what you want to do. It serves the same purpose in a sense of helping you move around more easily and dodge melee enemies. If you want these 2 mutations, I would probably recommend that you check player vendors for mutation serums. Sometimes you're able to find them for cheap if you get lucky. Oh, and before I forget, make sure you use Starch Genes and Class Freak perk cards that are under luck to help maintain the mutations and reduce the negatives that they give. That's a significant reduction, by the way. You definitely want these. There's also the Strange in Numbers perk card if you have mutations. It's going to be under Charisma. Consider using that because it just boosts your mutations. Number 6, level up. Leveling up by itself doesn't help your character get stronger, but it does bring many bonuses if you are a higher level, up to a certain extent. You will keep unlocking new potential perk cards up until level 50, at which point you will be able to pick anything when you can pick a perk card. That's obviously good, as you will have all of the options on the table. Apart from that, you also unlock legendary perk cards. These are not a necessity, but they absolutely help out, as they can make you tankier, they can make you deal more damage, they can make you get more points in certain specials, and so on. When you level up, enemies will also become more difficult. However, your weapons and armor will also be stronger. So it's kind of give and take. You might get rolled by your enemies, but you may also deal more damage. Moving on to weight reduction. This is a pretty big one. The first thing in here is a backpack. Now you do get one from the vault initially, but you can unlock another type of backpack, I believe, in a very tedious quest. Depending on which level you craft one for, it will increase your carry weight, and the max level is 50. There is also a ton of perks that reduce a certain type of weight. A lot of them you'll actually find within the strength tree, but you can find them somewhere else as well. Your weapons and armor will also impact the amount of weight that you might carry. On your weapons, the third legendary star can roll as a -90 weight, and that will then reduce the weight of your weapon that it has rolled on. It's not for everything, of course, just the one weapon. On armor, you also have weightless, that's for one armor piece. Not really that recommended. You can get some better legendary effects on the first star. But it's mainly about the mods here. So you can have pocket mods, or you can have the ultra light build that I have, because you get more action points with that. At the same time, it does reduce the weight of the current piece. So it's not a bad idea to use. Then there is some stuff regarding food and drinks. You can make different types of food that gives you carry weight. It can be a very nice temporary boost if you want it. You also have the carry weight booster that you sometimes get for free in the atomic shop, so make sure you check your daily atomic shop free items and get other good stuff from there as well. And the last helpful thing within the weight reduction is to check your inventory for heavy stacks within all categories. Sometimes you might have a big stack of ammo that you're not using or you don't have weight reduction for, and that's going to weigh you down significantly. As for our 8th and final point, create a build. It's completely fine if you don't want to create a build, but just know that there is the option either now or later. A build can help make the game a bit easier going against enemies, or just in general. There is some variety with different kinds of builds, but the most popular one right now, because it deals the most damage, is the Bloodied Commando build. I do have a video of how to make a generalized bloodied build that might help you out if that's what you're interested in. It should pop up on screen now. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see similar content in the future. And I will catch you again next time.